Hey guys, before we start, I want to make something clear. This show is real, raw, and unfiltered. We try not to cuss to keep it family friendly, but we don't hold back from the truth. We're real, imperfect people with a story. We talk about mental health and the trenches we once found ourselves in. That includes drug use and sometimes discussions involving suicide. If you or someone you know is struggling, dial 988 now and someone will answer. We do this to be a bright spot in the world, but please use discretion when watching or listening. Thanks, guys, and enjoy the show.
They have a big 60 by 120 garage. I was just basically in there dying, and cops showed up, probably like 5 cop cars surrounded the garage. And at that point, I was surrounded. I was no longer running from them at that point, and it was actually the biggest relief I think I can ever explain in my life. Like,
Getting well, hello everybody, and welcome back to One Call with Griff. This is episode 9, and I know I say this a lot, but we got a good one today. We're going to sit down with another one of our very own, a Pine Grove legend, Mr. Casey Clark. Casey, welcome on to One Call. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
It's good to have you on, man. I've known Casey for a couple years now, more of acquaintances up until here recently. But we've got a lot of parallels. We know a lot of the same people. And he has a long career in motocross. And that's kind of where I want to start today, Casey. It's the end of August, and you've been home from Loretta's for 2-3 weeks now, and what's going on?
Well, right now, not real good. First ride back from Loretta's, just doing some sight laps in a practice day and twisted my knee, tore my ACL and MCL. So right now we're on the waiting for surgery process.
So you're telling me that you spent the last 12 months preparing to go to Loretta's, training as hard as you can, and then you come home and you twist your knee and tear your knee up on a sight lap.
Yep, I know it's hard to believe and frustrating, but yeah.
Uh, Talk about Loretta's this year, man. I know you've been before, but what was this year like for you?
Um, Came in more prepared than I think I've ever been. I put the work in construction and in the gym, not skipping anything. I went there like a little bit, not really putting an expectation on it, and started off strong. Like, I felt good in practice. I got a first gate pick, which is very rare. I was like, all right, man, things are going my way. Got off to a terrible start, Moto 1. I ended up crashing in that one pretty bad. Got a little banged up, and then I just kind of, I don't know if I got in my head. I just didn't really ride my best the rest of the week. But we all know that track's like no other. You can't duplicate it. Like, you can prepare all you want, and it's just totally different from what you prepare for. So, but it was definitely a stacked year, so I can't really be hard on myself. Like, there were some really good guys, and I was right at the back of that pack. So I was still happy with it and came home in one piece and then got hurt.
How many times have you been to the ranch?
I think we figured it out 10 times total. I think 4 of them were vet experiences, and the rest were some mini and some expert class.
How did this year stand out? You said you were as prepared as you've ever been, um, but the results just weren't there. So, like, how does this year stand out for you?
I actually paid a trainer. I was like, I usually never train. I think I trained 1 year in my professional career back in time. So, like, I wasn't much of the trainer. I just go out and wing it and come off the couch and do all that stuff. So, I actually had a good diet, did everything right to try and make the 20 minutes, and just actually put the work in.
So, you said you raced plus 40. What does riding look like going forward? I mean, is this going to be like an every year thing? Trying to get back to the ranch and till you can't do it anymore, or was this like kind of like the last hurrah?
Uh, I was gonna say it was last hurrah. I think my parents kind of enjoy going there too. So it's definitely it's a fun family week, just like hanging. There's plenty of things to do. So there may be one more year in there, but
Yeah,
probably, yeah, maybe 43 would be the last year.
we'll see. I could see you giving it up for a couple years and then just like everyone else coming back. But Loretta's is truly, I'm bummed I missed it this year. It's one of my favorite weeks of the year. I love the property. I love the people down there, and was really bummed to miss it. But we'll make it back there someday. So yeah, man, let's talk about life. Let's start at the very beginning. I want you to kind of jump in at childhood. You can bring racing into it. How did you get started in racing? What was your life like growing up in Pine Grove? Spent a little bit of time over there, and it's a really cool, really unique place. It's a place that's pretty unique in my opinion. Take our listeners through what growing up in Pine Grove's like.
Well, as there's not much to do here other than there is a motocross track, which when I was younger, that was not open during the week. It was just a race event. So we have like a bunch of coal hills, a bunch of trails and stuff. So I grew up riding like trails, just like the fundamental stuff. Um, I wrestled in high school to kind of like stay in shape for racing for a winter hobby. Other than that, we just kind of ride dirt bikes. It's kind of still the same this day. It's like a big area for side by side stuff like that, renting anthracite. So, yeah, my childhood from when I remember, it was 4 years old. I was on a dirt bike, so it was that's what I did. My parents sacrificed everything to go do it every weekend. Back in the day, it was a van. Motorhomes weren't really a thing. And it just evolved up till I got big bikes at like 14. Um, and then at that point I was starting like life was starting. My dad was trying to push me into the fact that you gotta be turning expert, you're gonna start doing some things on your own. Um, and then I'd say life started hitting then at that point. Like I started like getting old enough that I'd do some things on my own. Uh, and then I started getting in some trouble, I'd say a little bit.
Before we get to that point, I want to. When you say your parents kind of sacrifice everything to go do it, are we talking like locally, or are we talking on a national scene, chasing the Lorettas or championships, or trying to get notice in the industry, or what?
At that point, it was just locally. I mean, my parents weren't very wealthy at first, and as well as I do the cost of it.
Yeah,
I believe my mom even pawned her wedding ring just so we can keep going. I think there might have been some hope. I think between my parents, like he might have some kind of a talent. Might have been the drive behind it. Let's see where this goes. But yeah, that's where that was.
so your mom pawned her wedding ring so you could go racing. Were you ever able to? Have you paid her back yet? How about that?
If you would know my mom, she's not really into the glamour. She's
Yeah,
more the dad than my dad.
yeah.
So yeah.
Talk a little bit about what it's like to have parents like that are going to go all out for you and try to give you the best opportunity to succeed in whatever it is you're doing. In this case, motocross.
Uh I'd say really cool. They're kind of like they love going every weekend. It's like their getaway. I don't think they necessarily enjoy the fact of the danger zone of it
Yeah,
and what could all happen. I think that part stinks for them, but they still enjoy going. Like they were at Loretta's all week. I mean, so at 42 years old, they're still going there supporting me, which is pretty cool.
yeah.
Um, yeah, it's very fortunate to have that.
That's awesome. What about school? Did you go to public school? Were you always skipping to go racing? What did that look like?
Yeah, I went to public school, Pine Grove High School. Skipped a lot of school. But yeah, I was trying to get out of school, like when I was trying to turn pro, which was like my senior year, and one of my sponsors like, "Don't let them do it, don't let them do it." So I finished school and everything, got a diploma. But yeah, it's just small town. Pine Grove's a really small school.
Yeah, and that was back in the time before you're on tracks and these schools where you could do it remotely or
Yep.
while you're traveling chasing the dream. Um, so you say you got a diploma. Where what happened after school?
Um, After school, that's kind of like a unique story. That's I was working with my dad. He works at like a bulk food place. I was washing trucks at the time. I got out in co-op my senior year. I was making actually decent money. I think I made it like a year after that, and I was like kind of thinking in my head, I'm like, I'm gonna chase this pro motocross dream. Just came in one day to work, told my dad and the boss, I'm like, I'm quitting. They're like, what do you mean? It's like I'm going to become a pro motocross rider. All right. I had a bunch of money saved up. I bought a van, went to Florida for the winter, and the living out of the van and chasing the dream thing started then.
I want to I wish I could be in your head during that time. Like what were you thinking? Like did you believe that was going to happen and you're just going to sell out and everything was going to fall into place?
I mean, then local motocross actually paid a lot different than what it does now.
Sure.
Like it was more reasonable. I would never make that decision now. I know it wouldn't last more than like 2 weeks, but like it was a totally different time, and I just thought it was possible at that point.
And I mean, you're pretty dang fast. I've seen you ride. I mean, obviously you made it to Loretta's. Um, you're you're quick on a bike. Was it a thing like we're like I need to make like $500. I'm just going to go to the county fair and win a race and then have some beer money or how did that work back then?
Yeah, that's basically all I did. I'd say like 2003 is when I really started like just looking for purses. I didn't look for a track. I would just search for high purse, and I just drive here. Sometimes like there was a Broome Tioga National in 2003. We do an invitational Supercross Wednesday night, sleep in a van, go to amateur day Thursday, Friday, and then do the national Saturday and Sunday. So for like a week straight, just stacking some money, big purses.
This might be a dumb question, but what's the biggest purse you ever won?
I think it was RM Cup was like 5 grand. I think close to 5 grand I made there.
Is that down at Cernix?
Yep.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. And so that's early 2000. That's a chunk of money.
Yeah. That was 2004. I think that was might have been the last year for the RM Cup.
Nice. So have you ever qualified for a national?
Yeah. I was pretty good at qualifying for them. I'd be the last chance sometimes. But that's when they did gate drops too. Like I wasn't a clock racer. I could get great starts.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how I'd fare out with that stuff now, because I'm more the racer, the gate drops, do all that. But I
they
think
do
I
gate
made,
drop, don't they?
yeah, for LCQ.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I made a bunch of them. The last 2006 would have been my last year nationals. I got a top 100 number, and then just kind of disappeared and never went back to pro racing.
Were you ever kind of on that edge of getting a ride or
2006, I got actually lucky. There was some just random guy. This is before Husqvarnas were actually cool and like good. The back
yeah.
end, like 2006, and couldn't get bikes. Ended up getting them from a local dealership, and I'm like, all right. I went out first race. They kind of like broke down. First race, things going wrong. I'm like, man, if this is over, I'm done. I'm about ready to quit. Some guy came up to me at this local race, like, hey, this is so and so, introduced himself, said, hey, we're trying to start a race team. And I kind of like, it was almost ignorant. I'm like, man, I heard that a million times. I don't want to hear about it. Like, yeah, if you're for real, let me know. And ended up, this guy bought a bunch of bikes. They paid me salary. It was just like kind of like a satellite team at the time.
Yeah.
So that was the closest I got to getting a ride.
Did he go to all the outdoors or what circuit did you guys run?
We were doing the outdoors in 2006. I just did not. I got hurt by I think round six. I think it was. I was hurting out.
Nice, nice. Um, so while we're on the racing subject, it seems like that was like your main form of income. You decided you didn't want to work at the bulk food store and you were going to go be a professional motocross racer, which you're paying the bills by riding. That's literally the definition of a professional. Might not be a, Tomac or a Jet Lawrence, but you were a professional rider. At what point did you have to go back to work?
Well, I don't think I did for a while. That'll probably be the part where we get into life.
Sure.
I would say, I think I did have when I came back from Texas. I had a job in like 2007, but most of my jobs were like lasted a year, maybe a year. Most of them didn't.
Yeah. I think now's as good a time as ever. But the reason the show exists is I like to look at people that have built something, and there are people that can start from nothing, blank slate, build something up, and there you go. I'm not that kind of person. I had to like start, tear it down, start, tear it down, start, tear it down, and that's the kind of stories that I like to listen to. That's the kind of stories that um, I like to share with other people, and that's why you're on the show, because you have one of those stories. Um, so we talked about adversity. You mentioned the T word, the trouble word earlier. Let's dive into it. What are we talking about here?
All right, well, that'd probably be the void I'm avoiding telling you, like jobs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I would say I was in high school. I got hurt at Minio's pretty bad. It started there. I got Percocets at I think 14. I would have been 14 at the time. I was bad enough that I was couch ridden for a couple months and started with Percocets. And then I'd say I was at that curious age of a kid too. Like my whole life was motocross. So starting to go out, like going to parties and stuff. And then it just started, it was mostly drinking and then like started experimenting with hard drugs, cocaine, meth, stuff like that. But I kept it under I guess I'm claiming it was under control
Yeah.
until I'd say 2004 four-ish. Like I'd have two lives. Like I'd be Casey the motocrosser at the track and nobody knew what was going on and like I had somewhat control on it and then I'd be in a hurry to go home and party. And then the partying Sunday night turned into during the week and just kept like evolving. I'd say 2006 then when I came back from Texas is just kind of when I was in Texas I was 100% sober. When I had that somewhat team ride, like I was legit. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna give this a good shot. And then the minute that ended was I had to F it like instantly. So I just came back home. I got a job and was just using. They paid me money, a contract for a whole year. Yet after that, I blew through all the money while having a job, and it just at that point it snowballed. Um, I wouldn't say I had a year, maybe some girl maybe like got me to the point that I'd put in a year, somewhat, I guess, in between them, but. I really didn't really work at that point. It was just either selling drugs and doing drugs, and occasionally I'd come back and race, and I'd just get slower and slower doing that because I was messed up all the time.
So you said it was around 2004, right? So we're talking, 20 years ago that this really took off, right? When you got
Yep.
hurt at Minio's, tried to come back. Um, was that your first time, like the first time, an opiate or, a high powered pain pill would ever like hit your system, or just the first time consistently?
That was the probably the first time it hit my system. Period. I think maybe before then I might have smoked weed a couple of times. Typical going into high school kid stuff. But that was the consistently in my system that time.
Yeah, and I feel like that story is not unique, especially in motocross. I mean, in all action sports. I mean, heck, in football, someone gets on that stuff, and I think it. I think there's a lot more awareness of it now, and people got to be, or they know at least to be careful. Um, as far as like prescribing them goes. They're not going to prescribe you those things today like they would in 2004. But that's not to say that it doesn't still happen. Um, what was your what injury? I'm sorry if you said what it was, but I missed that.
I got landed on off a jump. I was already down. I went to stand back up. Another bike jumped on me and it broke basically my shoulder completely off. And the ball of itself was actually in my chest.
Oof.
So I had all kinds of pins and stuff in there, lots of hardware. And came home in a 15 passenger van, checked myself out the following day. I was like, we're going home, laid in the back of a van and came home and laid on the couch.
Yeah, so no doubt that kind of those kind of you needed some big guns to deal with that.
Yeah.
Um, when it started out, did it offer you any relief? Like, did it just grab you?
It definitely gave some relief. I just had no clue what was about to start. Like it,
And did it turn into like a maintenance thing, or was it like as it kind of like wore down? Did it you just you need it,
yeah, it was more like I needed it at that point. And
and then
then,
the fun side of it kind of followed that, I guess, right?
yeah, yeah. Then I was looking for it at parties and found ways. Oh, I can get these without getting hurt. And it just, yeah, and like it became a point, and then I started getting happy that I was getting hurt.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that,
And then you were figuring out ways to make it to where you never had to go without them, right? I heard you say that.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so go ahead and continue. I didn't mean to bring you back to 2004, but that's a lot of time between 2004 and now. So we saw your beginning, especially in the use there, and like we said, it started out as a legitimate reason, and then it took off and evolved into something else.
Yeah. Um, Let's say, well, we were at like 2006. That's basically when it just, I gave up on life's what happened. I was running. I was scared at 21, 22. I was still a kid. I didn't really get any life skills with doing motocross. Like you do learn some unique stuff, but like a lot of things scared me. So then it started becoming my scapegoat too. So if anything feels uncomfortable, I can just go and be comfortable again and start using.
Yeah,
Um, and the fact that I think it was running through my head too that like what I thought my life was going to be is not no longer. I'm 22, 23 years old at this point. Motocross is over. I blew it. So let's just cover all that up and instead of just going to get a job like a normal person. So other than that, I'd say I had a friend that would be part of the enabling. They didn't know at the time. Like I could get a job with him. He had an RV business. Um, Very good friend of mine still is, supports me. I could get a job with him. I didn't have to go and get a normal job because I couldn't pass a urine test. So I could never have a normal job. So I never really looked for him. Um, Went on to that. I would be in and out, like helping him sometimes until I'd go on one of my tangents where I just don't want to work no more and I just want to go out and do drugs all day. Um, then I met say that would get us up 2009, I think it was, is when I met Kevin Cobb. Um,
uh
I here we go.
oh.
Not the quarterback neither.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met him at a local race. Somebody had asked me to come to a local race, and this is taking us 2009 at that point. This is only 3 years after I had a top 100 number. I went to a local race, and I think there was like 10 people there, and I got dead last. And I remember seeing Kevin all the time at the races. He'd always be, "Hey, what's up? Talk to me." Guy with all the tattoos. And I was ready to leave, and I was with some girl in her car, and he came up to the window, and he's like, "Hey man, you straight?" I looked down, like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm straight." And he goes, "Yeah, right." He goes, "Here's my card. Call me if you need me." I'm like, I didn't. He didn't say for what, and I'm still thinking I'm fooling everybody at this point. So a couple weeks go by, and like I was in a rough spot where I was like to the point of committing suicide, and I had this card. So I gave him a call. I was like, man, you got to come get me within like 2 days. I'm gonna move you in my basement. He's like, we're gonna go to meetings, this and that. This is what's gonna happen. I loaded all my stuff up, moved me into his basement, and then we started going to like AA meetings. We did one a day, one or two a day, every day. This was before Kevin evolved into the program. He was still going to AA. I was going to AA. We do like two meetings a day, and then like he was still giving me all the life advice, like this is what you avoid. We still raced and stuff. At that point, it started was Head Case MX, which was just a bunch of people from the rooms and stuff.
Yeah.
They started coming to the track. It was basically him and I racing, and a couple other guys like started hanging out that they were racing as well. But it was a bunch of people cooking, just hanging out, having a good time. No, like just having fun with other people in recovery. Um, then it was the starting to go to races, and Kevin was still giving me his suggestions. He's like, some girl started talking to me. He's like, hey, I don't think you're ready for this. And, you know, that always wins over. Like, I ain't giving that up. You know what I mean? I ain't giving that up.
Yeah.
So I ignored all signs and information. I was like maybe a year and a half, 2 years clean at this point, and I thought I had it figured out. I had it whooped, and moved in with the girl, and things started going south. I think I made it like a year, and then I started forget what it was. I think it might have been meth that I started using first, and maybe some pills, not too heavy on the pills, but mostly meth, and kind of hiding it from her. And then that relationship got uglier and uglier. Uh, then I got a domestic. We got in an argument, so I got a domestic. So I go to jail at this point. So I did overnight. I got out of jail. Um, Moved in with that guy that owns the RV business, and there you go. Now I got a job again. So kind of hung out there, drinking. I was at least going to work every day. I really didn't have a choice when you're living on the boss's couch. So,
Yeah.
uh, started working with him, and then that was 2013. I think it was 2013. So working with him, had probation. I had 2 years probation. Made it all the way to the end, and then I was using the whole entire time. If I told somebody I was sober, I was lying at that point. Like there was no amount of clean time. I was either drinking, using Xanax, meth. Those are like my two. Um,
And I
Found
think
it.
people use probation as kind of like, hey, I'm on probation. I can't be using. They use it as like a shield, or people think you're good if you're on probation and you're not back in jail.
Yeah, well, the manipulator that I was, all they gave me a schedule. So it was so easy to beat. He's like,
Oh
hey,
yeah.
every Wednesday I need to see you at 12. Well, I had it timed out that I could just do it till Sunday night at 1 a.m. and then I'd take a 2 day break, go in, pee at 12, and right back on it and keep doing that cycle and doing that cycle. Like,
That is, I get it. I understand. And it kind of, it makes my stomach turn at like how crazy that would be, like to have it planned down, because my life's been that before, not necessarily with probation, but it's been that unmanageable, that crazy. You set an alarm for 1 a.m. on Sunday morning, and then you're ready to go through hell for, 48 hours. And then the minute you get done at the, you know, pissing, you're right back to it. You're literally
absolutely.
right back to it.
Yeah.
And that margin has to be so thin for it to like be, go all the way to Sunday morning at 1 a.m. Like it's got to be like that shit, excuse me, that stuff would have still been in your system like 3 hours earlier. Like if you had to pee at like 9 a.m., you would have
Oh,
failed,
yeah.
you
Oh,
know?
absolutely. I had it to a sign.
So,
Like, it's crazy.
yeah, go ahead, continue.
So, uh, found another girl again. at the same track doing it. They're both card girls too, so I guess I had an issue with like 30-second card girls.
Nice. Yeah.
So ended
I,
up just kind of messing around with her, and then I was 16. I was cheating all them perfect timing, all them urine tests, making all that, and then I think I had 16 days left to finish my probation, and I caught new charges in another domestic
ooh.
with her. So probation calls, and they're like, "Hey, you got new charges. You left out of state, yada yada yada." Because I wasn't reporting that I was going down and seeing this girl out of state. So I went back, and typical addict me, I was like, "Well, I'm already going to jail, so I go to probation, do drugs right in the parking lot before I walk in because I know I'm going to jail." Um, Walk in there, piss hot, and go to jail. I do 4 months for that one, and then what they do is they let you back out, and then you start all over. You start all your probation. So I lost them 2 years. I did. Um, when I got out, it was one of the other times I called Kevin like, "Hey, I need to do something."
Yeah.
So he's like, "Hey, we're going to Florida." That was usually my time. Minios was always with Kevin. I'd always come out of the woodwork, and I'd find I'm all right. I'm staying out of trouble. I'm going to Minios. So
Yeah.
um, I came out of jail and go to a probation officer, and the new one, and I have him sold. I'm like, "Hey, I'm going with my recovery coach and everything to Florida. I'm gonna be gone for 4 weeks." He's like, didn't even bat an eye at it. He's like, "Cool, great." So I go down. I think we were down there for like 2 weeks prior at WW Ranch. I do Minios. This is 2016 at this point. Um, Doing everything with Kevin, and of course I'm missing home. Kind of probably. I didn't want to admit it yet, but missing my other life that I wasn't letting go of yet.
Yeah.
So tell Kevin like, "Hey, I'm heading home." I caught a ride home with another guy that was. He's like, "I don't think you should do that." So I went back home, met another girl that would party, go out drinking and stuff like that, and within like a month, there I was right back to drinking while on probation again. Um,
Oh.
Again, and I made it through that 2 years, and I was probably the first 6 months I kept it to strictly drinking, and then I just started using again, and I was cheating timing there. Like this probation officer wasn't giving me a time, and there was times he snuck up on me, and like I don't know how I snuck away with it, but I got through that finally, and I think that was 2017, 18, 19, 20. I think it was like the 2017 mark. I would have got off of that. It was like just before COVID or something like that. And I think I made it like 3 months and got busted with drugs.
So you made it 3 months off of probation until you got busted. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I finally got through. Was all proud and like, "Hey, man, I did it." And wasn't doing the right thing. So, I mean, it wasn't, I shouldn't even been proud of it at that point.
Yeah.
And then I caught some major trouble. Got caught up with some kid that was trying to reduce his sentence and
Mm.
kind of like set me up. So then I went to jail, bailed out, and at that point, I just said, "This is my last party." This is in like 2020. I said, "This is my last party. I'm ready." At that point, I was ready to die, and I didn't have no care no more. Um, I stopped going to court. I went on the run for the next I think it was like 3 years straight of my life in my own hometown. I didn't even really come out it. And I just kind of went around playing with the cops and thought that was a joke. It was to the point I'd couch surf. I'd live on people's couches. Um, really didn't have a home. I think at that point, Kevin had enough into my parents that they had to stop enabling me because my mom and dad bailed me out the last time when I got caught with the drugs. Bailed me out. I think I made it 20 minutes, so I started doing the same thing I just got arrested for. So Kevin got that in their head that you got to stop enabling them. And basically, they kind of stepped their distance. The only thing they really did was occasionally, I mean, they'd get food and keep it here, invite me over for food, but like they weren't, there was no more bailing Casey out, which was, I was so used to getting things with racing. Like it was
Mm-hmm.
so easy to getting things that I feel that I transferred that into my life and just thought like everything should be given to me. And I expected it. And I walked all over people that did it for me, especially my parents. I mean, a couple times they bailed me out and just wasted thousands of dollars. Um, and finally, I think this was like the turning point. I'd say I think it was like 2023. One morning I was at this time, like my parents actually let me, I was living in a garage at this point. They have a big 60 by 120 garage. I was just basically in there dying, and cops showed up, probably like five cop cars surrounded the garage. And at that point, I was surrounded. I was no longer running from them at that point, and it was actually the biggest relief I think I can ever explain in my life. Like,
Getting picked up.
yeah, like
Yeah.
that was like most of them. Like it would make me mad because I'm like, oh man, I can't use no more if I go to jail. That's what would make me more mad about it, going to jail than anything. But at this point, it was like I was that cooked that I was like, put my hands up. I'm like, he's got me. I'm like, great. So at that point, I got taken to jail, and I ended up going in there. A couple people know this story. I met Matt in there, uh, and he was calling Kevin at the time. And like I had no plan, even though I was relieved to get there, I still had no plans of really changing. I was just relieved for like a break, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And I fell into the cell with this kid, and he's like, "Hey, I'm calling Kevin Cobb." I'm like, "All right, let's." I know him. I know him. So he's on the phone with him. I'm like, "Hey, man, I need to talk to you." He's like, "No way!" You know, Kevin's laugh going on. So I started talking to him, and I was like all about to change at first, and then I got comfy in the jail life, and I'm like, I'm gonna get right back out and do what I was doing. Like I changed my mind in the middle of I had like 2 months in the jail, and then I called Kevin back, and he's kind of
Let me
getting
stop
real.
you right there, just real quick.
Yeah,
You we've been talking for the last 15 minutes about time after time after time of the same result. And here you are sitting in jail for the who knows how many time, you know, the X amount of, you've been there that many times. And you're just trying to make your life easy so you can get back out and do it again. Right?
absolutely. Yep.
That, I understand. I totally understand. And that was me. But that, like, it's crazy how powerful um substances can be, and how powerful that sickness is until you decide to do something about it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's what we're getting to now. So,
So at that point, I uh I gave up in the middle of it, and I'm like, I'm going back doing what I was doing, and then finally, and there was times over the few times I've seen Kevin, like in and out, like when it was sick recovery. Like I said, I went there a couple weeks, and I bailed a couple weeks, and Kevin flat out said I was part of the enabling problem too. Like I'd give you a dirt bike, and you get everything you want right away, and then you wouldn't do any work, and then you just go right back into who you were. So I got back on the phone, and prior to that, I'd say the thing that went through my head was like, man, you're 40 years old, dude, and you haven't done anything with your life, like absolutely nothing. Like at that point, I'm like, I got probably 40 more years. That I don't want it to be like that ever again. Like, I don't want the same result of the first half. So,
yeah.
I called Kevin, and he's like, "Look, man, you got to do the work. You're not getting a dirt bike." Well, I lie. He did say, "Let's go racing" to kind of like coax me in, but I was already sold this final time. I'm like, "All right, I'm in." and came out, and that's when it was Soul at that time. And man, I didn't like some of the things, like how it was like so just getting to the truth. Like I hated hearing it. Everybody did, but Kevin got me out, went to Soul, and spent two or 3 years there, and actually listened to him for once, and it was like, you know what, I did the work, and I gave it 110%. Like, I'll do what you say, I'll give everything a try, and this is what we're doing. I do not want to use ever again.
Mm. And now it's 2026, right? You got out in 24 and you were with Kevin from then, and or
Yeah,
no, it would have been
might have
earlier
been
than that, right?
20, it might have been 22, 23, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Um what was it like where were you in the program when it kind of went under, or when the adversity hit to the program itself?
I was still there. That was at that point we went to the farm. We were living at the farm at that point, and I think there was 5 or 6 of us at that point.
Yeah.
And I'd say I was a year. I might have been like a year and a half into the program at that point. Like it was almost at that point where I was like felt okay and confident, but there was still that 20% that I was like, man, this sucks. But fortunately, like Kevin kept the farm. I mean, wasn't running the program how it was, but he was there. Like you call him for anything.
Of course he was. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean. That Kevin will never do that. I can tell you that. Like he gave a great opportunity, like even living at that farm, for me to save up enough money, like to keep going, because I was just starting to work and like figuring out, like I didn't even know how to do my own taxes.
Yeah.
Like straight up, like I didn't know how to do it. The only thing I did know about taxes is how to not do them. Like I was still learning all that stuff. Like that was the scariest part. Like right when it was ending was when we were starting to like, all right, you're getting a job, you're gonna do this, and you're doing it on your own. Mommy ain't gonna do it for you no more. Like that part was very scary, but I'm like, you know what? He's a phone call away. Anything you need, or use my phone for like what it's used for. Like you can Google anything these days, and like I started figuring some stuff out on my own and stopped being dependent on other people, which was really cool.
Your whole story, I think there's so much that uh, sometimes I feel like it's hard for people to relate to a motocross rider, or an athlete, a professional athlete. Um but there's so many things in your story that you said are like just simply universal. Um being afraid of growing up, like you said, you mentioned this time where like it hit you, and you didn't know what to do, so you got high essentially.
Yep.
um I relate 100% to that. I can remember graduating college, and everyone had places to go, and I was like, all right, well, what do we do now? And found myself just getting high for years. Just out of a crippling, fear, I think it was. And then, moving from there right into like the relationship side of things, and like, putting a girl before what it is that you had to do. Or letting a girl not lead you, but like take you back down that road. um there's a lot in there. This last time though, like, how did you think back to times before and try to pick them apart and learn from them? um or were you just like, just starting from the ground up and just trying to be the best person you could be in the program?
I'd say like now I like dissect it. Like I occasionally go back and like I've gathered enough information that I know like I tried playing the victim, which was the biggest thing. Like poor me. And essentially it was my decision. Like it's everybody's decision. Like everybody can say no. It's pretty simple, but I was still so fascinated with that life that whole time that it was so easy to go back. Like I never gave myself enough time to be sober long enough to see that there was a good life. You know what I mean? Like now, like
Mm.
a couple of years, like I don't even get tempted. It's like that's not worth it. Nope. Like life's good.
Yeah, so you knew you were messing up. You knew that it was a bad idea, but you didn't care because you literally didn't believe that there was anything better out there, or and if there was, you were probably afraid of it.
Yeah, I was afraid of trying anything. And I had nothing to lose. I didn't really have anything built. I had a couple dirt bikes, and I didn't even own them. I conned someone else into buying them. Like I had nothing to lose, and like I feel like even just the work that I've done, that's something worth not losing now. Like I'm like that was a lot of work to get to where I'm at right now. Them 3 4 years.
I think that's a big part of Kevin's program. Um, I can remember him saying it. Uh, he wanted people to earn sobriety, right? You know, it to not be given to you. He wanted you to feel the detox and remember it. You know, no medically assisted. And like he made you work for these things so that they meant something and so that you were afraid to lose them. You know, to me, it sounds like you never want to go through what you went through. You know, what is it, 3 4 years ago now, ever again.
Oh, absolutely not. I don't want to put other people through it too. Like, you know, what I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
that stuff that I did was like super selfish. Like there's people pouring their life into me and like taking their time out of their day. Like, and I was just straight up taking advantage of them. Like, and then just walking all over them. Like that stuff hurt more than what I did to myself.
What did you feel? I mean, did you ever think about your parents in any of this? Because we started the show with how awesome they were when you were a kid, or how awesome they were to you now that you're 43 years old and they went with you to Loretta's, and then we got into how awesome they were, you know, as a kid. Like, how did that feel? Knowing, you know, when that finally hit, how did that feel?
Feels good. Like we at one point, like we'd walk in the door and wouldn't even say a word to each other in the same house. Like it's a good feeling. I can get along with them, and the time I'm actually with them is actually present. Like I was always with them, but I wasn't present. Like now, like I'm present. It's always good razzling my dad up. My mom's the calmer one. It's
Did
just
they ever get an opportunity to look you in the eye and tell you like you were messing up?
I think there was sometimes, but like it was like talking to a black hole.
Yeah. You mean talking to you was like talking to a
Yeah,
black hole?
yeah. I was like just talking to a black hole.
Yeah. And I just think that's awesome. They're still in your life. They're still supportive of you. And um, I, you mentioned it, so I kind of want to go back to it. You said there was a time in your life when you didn't want to go back to jail, and you'd rather just die than going back to jail. What does it feel like, you know, now knowing that's behind you, but also knowing that that was a part of your life? Like, how does that feel?
Mm, thank God it didn't happen. Is basically what I say. Like I gave up. Like what if I would have got to what I was thinking was going to happen? Like what if I would have got? I would never even seen this. That would have been my life. I wouldn't have seen this last 4 years. Like it's just crazy.
Yeah, I have a similar story, and when I look at my life now, and I realize like what, you know, could have or should have been maybe, I just like it, almost like it gets me every time. I just start crying to know that I was like this close from not being able to experience any of the things that I'm experiencing right now. And uh, do you have a girlfriend or a wife or anything?
Nope.
Nope. You see
Single,
that?
single, single, and ready to mingle.
We'll put your phone number up on screen
Yeah.
there. Nice, nice. Um, so today, what's life look like? What's the future look like?
Spring, I will. I'm gonna be buying my parents' house. They have another little place on their property that they're gonna downsize and retire. So I'll be taking something that I've been like buying a house is scary as all
Yeah.
heck. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but like as time, like it's been a gradual thing. So I had time to think about it. I'm like, dude, it's not that bad. It's not that hard. Just keep working, and what's so hard about it? So I'll be purchasing a house. Um, so like, yeah, that's gonna occupy a lot of my racing time. So won't
Did you
be
ever see
racing.
that coming? Like, did you ever see like that was possible for you in your life?
Absolutely not. I thought I was gonna be on somebody's couch for the rest of my life.
And now you're buying a house. And
Yeah.
I think you always thought you were going to be you thought you were going to race motorcycles your whole life. Did the program teach you, how to work with your hands, or did you learn that growing up, like as wrenching on the bikes, or
I'd say both. I did learn like a little bit of skills before the program, but a lot was the program. Like we did, and Kevin purposely picked things we didn't want to do, like on purpose. And the more we complained about it, the more work he got of that just for us to do. So so that was like making you do things you really didn't want to, which was like, I mean, that worked well. Like it did. Like you learned a lot, even though you didn't want to be doing it. Like we learned so much there, like pools, like there's hardscape, there's all kinds of stuff. Like there was nothing he wouldn't take on for work wise. Like we'd be
yeah?
there and learn. So yeah, I'd say 90% of it was with the program. The other 10 I just learned tinkering with bikes and the other little odds of jobs that I did.
I want to get kind of back to like how today is different. Do you do anything to maintain or build your life and your sobriety right now intentionally? Um, what does that look like?
Just continue with like daily routine. Like gratitude always like sometimes I slip off and I start getting like just miserable for no reason. I'm like, man, you got a lot to be thankful for right now. So I slacked off in that, but lately here with Kevin with the morning thing, back on that. Um, just always trying to be better every day, just a little 1% better every day.
And we literally we just talked about how your recovery and your life at one point was either life or death. How has that taught you to handle adversity now?
Hmm. It's just, I mean, make the right choice because, I mean, when you give up, like, you just start over every time. Like, I'm not willing to do that no more. Like, it's always up from here. Like, I may have a bad day. I'm not going to have bad months. I can tell you that.
Mm. Yeah, no, I'm with you there. And what would you say to someone in your shoes at 21? Like where you were at 21, knowing what you know now, like what would you say to someone there? Like if you have you ever like looked around, like literally seen yourself at the racetrack, you
Oh,
know?
yeah. Lots of them. What I would say is have your second option in the works already. Either be thinking about school, um, start working a job, whatever, get being hands on with things. Like start thinking about your career, because I mean, especially if it's a motocross kid, we know nobody makes too much gold doing that. Just be ready for life.
And then, you know, let's say young kid in their 20s comes across you and you could tell that they struggle with substances. How would you handle them? What would you say to them?
Um, I just did everything I just learned in the last 3 years. I just tell them how I did it because I mean it isn't really I always thought it was rocket science. It really ain't. Like it's all the same formula. Um, and I just guide them through it. Kind of cool thing when I left Loretta's. I mean, I think I should do more of giving service. Like I put about how my third moto went, and I mentioned sobriety, and I talked to 3 different people on the way home that were struggling. and they're like, "Hey, what do you do?" And just talk to them like, "Hey, if you need anything, reach out." You know, so I need to do more of that. That's for sure.
Yeah. That's, I think that's big because, like, you're paying, this is a Kevin-ism, I guess, but like, you're paying without a purpose behind it. What's the point in that? And so I think a big part of all of our future and all of our like success, whenever and however it comes, there has to be an element to that, paying it forward and pouring into the those that are coming behind us, right?
Yep.
Man, we're almost there. It's no secret that I wouldn't be sitting where I'm sitting right now. We wouldn't be on this podcast right now without Kevin. You wouldn't be sitting in that seat right now without Kevin and the opportunity that he's given us. Do you have anything else you want to say in that regards?
Um, just very thankful for him. There's been multiple times, like I said, he was one of the people that I walked all over, and at times when I was out using, was even talking smack and mocking the program and just being belligerent. And after all that, he still accepted me in. Did I hear about it? Absolutely, but you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
his heart's always there and it's always pure. Like, he's all about helping people. And I don't. If I definitely wouldn't have known him, I don't think this story would have played out the same. I really don't.
No doubt.
And that's something I'm thankful for.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, man. Well, you got anything else you want to add about life, the future, anything?
Uh, just always do the right thing. Just keep trying to be better every day. Make good choices. Work hard.
Work hard, make good choices, keep trying to do the right thing. That's some good advice. I think that's going to wrap it up. I mean, we're right at an hour. Talked about some good stuff today. So thank you very much, Casey.
Thank you.
You're welcome on the show anytime. But yeah, this has been One Call with Griff, episode 9 with Casey Clark. This show is brought to you by Service 360 Group. We are a home services company in Berks County, Pennsylvania. We take care of electrical, plumbing, HVAC. But I promise you, if you have a problem around your home or business, give us a call. We can take care of you. Follow the show on Facebook, YouTube. We're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Wherever you listen to your podcasts, give us a follow, like the show, and we'll be back next week with episode 10. We're double digits next week, so thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.